Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, footballers of all ages, welcome to this new podcast talking all things Cascade Youth Club, where we will talk to the past and present, legends, good and the great, all associated with the famous red and blue jersey. Today, I got two very special guests, both former footballers, both teammates of myself, Kevin Gould and Tony Challenger. Kevin, scorer of hundreds of goals for the club, many a great goal, and Tony, many would say, one of the best cultured left defenders the club has ever seen. So, not also are they former footballers, they're both coaches involved with the club. Kevin is one of the coaches with Cascade under 12s, and Tony is currently with the youth boys. If that's not enough credentials for you, Tony is also the current chairman of the club. So we've got a lot to unpack. We're going to take a deep dive journey into their time with the club and their careers. So hopefully we'll all enjoy it. Hopefully it'll be a good, interesting talk. Was that introduction all right for you boys? You said
that was perfect, Trig.
How's your Sunday going? You both all right?
Yes, Trig,
Great,
all
mate.
good. Great intro. It was probably thousands of goals, but we digress.
No. You said to pick you up. I said, what do you want me to say? And he told me for about half hour how you were the people's champions, both legends with the club. So I hope we're all right. So what are we going to do, boys? You're obviously both been with the club a long time, through thick and thin. So what we're going to do is just talk about all your journey with the club, how you got started, and also both currently in the Vets team. So, or in the squad at least. We'll see how you go, if you get in the team or not. And also we'll see what you say in this podcast to see if I actually play you. So we'll start at the beginning, if that's all right. Can you, we'll start with Kevin on each one. I'll make it easier and then go to Tony, but we'll have answers from the both of you. So first of all, can you tell me about your beginnings with the club? Can you remember when you first got involved and how you got involved?
Yeah, I was late starting really. I didn't start playing football properly for the team until I was about 10 or 11 years old. And that's when I moved from Kevin Enger to Cascade and came sort of down the field, saw you boys and went training for Cascade. And that's when, you, Mike Cotter, Tony, Neil Cotter, there was a good core of our boys there. I said Neil Evans, Gareth Emmons, and I just started playing, when I was about 10, 11 years of age. So I missed the early stages, but I was a bit of a late starter, but 10, 11 years, 1991.
Do you remember your first game with the club, Kev?
I can, Trig. I can. It was, I remember, because I hadn't long been training. The old man wasn't sure if I'd take this, so I didn't even have a pair of boots. So the first game I played was in a pair of trainers.
Did you score?
Needless to say, I scored. Of course I did, Trig.
Was it a worldie?
No, it was a tap-in, Ponlottin, but they all count.
Then tough to score up there. I hate it going up there. Tone, what about you? What was your first game? How did you get involved?
I got involved the same time as you, I think it was, Trig. I think we were about 6, 7 years old. I think our first training session was with the legend Wyndham Matthews up on the top football field. I don't think there was many of us to start with. But I think we were 7. We went straight into play under 10s football. And it was a lot different then, because obviously you got mini football now. We went straight in, 11 aside. It was actually 45 minutes each way to start with as well. So we were quite young, mate. My first game, no, I don't remember. It was 35 years ago. I haven't got a memory like you. I just remember odd games that we used to play, cup finals and that we were in. But it was good times, mate.
Well, we'll get on to the cup finals. I think your first game was probably the same as mine. Aberbargard away. I always remember because they played in green. And
Could be. Did you score, Trig? Did you score that game?
Trick, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
I bet he was mad at the match, Tone.
I think
Nobody else
well,
remembers
I didn't want to mention
remembers
it.
Trigger scoring.
This is your podcast, boys. This is not mine, but I think I did score on that break, if I'm honest. But we'll talk about that at a different time. Today is your day. So we talked about who was your first managers, did you say? Can you remember?
Mine was
I think-
Wyndham Matthews, mate.
And I
it
think
was
mine
Wyndham.
was the legend that is Mike Cotter.
Yes, I think hopefully we'll have Mike on at some point with one of these podcasts because he'll have a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
Growing up,
I think there was someone else alongside Wyndham as well with us, but I can't remember who it was. I know John Parry used to help out.
John and Roger, we probably had Roger.
Yeah, Roger was about a year into it, I think, and then he took over, didn't he? But there's
Was
definitely
there-
someone else with Wyndham, and I can't remember who.
Who was with Wyndham then? George Bettinson, but he probably wouldn't have been our age, would he?
Yeah.
John, might have been John, because as you sent me them sheets the other day, Geraint and Gareth both played with us, didn't they?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it was probably-
could have been.
If we've forgot to, we're sorry. You'll have to let us know and you can come on. So tell me about the biggest rivals, the games you hated going to, the grounds you dreaded. I got a few. Who can you boys remember?
Well, I always liked, I wouldn't say I dreaded going there. I always liked Bargard away, playing on the basin. When you won there as a kid, especially going to ELD, when we went to ELD after beating Bargard away and rubbing their noses in the school grounds, it was fantastic. So loved playing Bargard away, hated it when we lost. But one of the places which was probably the most intimidating place to go was probably Abervalley away.
I'll second that.
As kids,
You read
kids.
my mind, Kev.
As kids growing up, it was just mental. They were just thugs.
Yeah.
What was particularly bad about it?
The abuse they gave my buddy Trigger. That's what annoyed me. Scarf used to chase you around the pitch.
I still have nightmares, if I'm honest.
It's because you were so good, Trixie.
We no, don't. Now what about the ones, Kev, you said you loved going to Bargard and winning down the basin, which was always nice. Tone, any nice ones you like going to?
Yeah, I think it has to be Bargard, doesn't it? It was always great to go there, and home or away, take 3 points off them was always a big plus. Any of the local teams really, Brad, we always used to say have good games against them. But I'm with Kev. The toughest games with me were always Abervalley away, and we never used to lose to them. But it was never plain sailing when we went there. Either we made it difficult for ourselves, or they were just quite a hard team. And then obviously Ponlot in a way as well was tough, but that was tough more when you're up there playing in the winter, freezing cold
Conditions.
more than the team. But yeah, it has to be Bargard, I think, the best. But there was a couple of places I didn't love going to.
Caerphilly were a good team.
Yeah, excellent team.
just
Phil.
said-
The Philly boys, can't you?
Yeah,
Remember-
Sharif, Jeremy, Darty, all good players. I mean, that's a really good battles against them.
Don't
really
forget
good
Poppy
battle.
as well was playing, wasn't he?
Who, sorry?
Chris Poppy used to play for Caerphilly, didn't he?
Never heard of him.
Or was it the Brad?
Tell me about some of your successes, boys. Tony mentioned winning cups and winning leagues earlier. Tell me about some of them good times.
Yeah, and it was always, like I say, we made quite a few cup finals. It was always great to be in. And one stuck out for me when we were really young. I think, well, it was two actually when we were young. I think one was on the dog track down in Ystrad we played. I think Roger was coaching us then. For some reason, I can remember that game. There's another cup final up in Brifta we played. Can't remember who it was against though. But I think the one that sticks out for me the most, and I'm sure it was a cup final, played Bargard over in Nelson, and we must have been around under 16s maybe, something like that. And I've still
Beat
got the
them
photo.
5-0.
Beat them 5-0, and I'm sure I scored in that game as well.
Can't
But
Can't be
yeah,
true.
it was
That
just
can't be true.
I know that was the only one I ever scored in my career. But yeah, it was a couple of games like that, like I say, that really stood out. And the other thing that stood out for me was, and you don't see them that much now, with all the five-a-side tournaments we used to have up in Aberbargard and places like that. They were great times. We always used to do well in them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember the Sky tournaments as well?
Oh,
Yeah.
fantastic! Yeah. I
Ed,
remember.
what about your
Oh,
cup successes?
you talk about that Sky tournament. We lost in the final there to a Caerphilly of all teams. Like we just mentioned them now, but I remember the semi-final. I was playing right wing at that point, Treg. So
Yeah.
beat 4 of their players, and I could hear people shouting on the side, bloody hell, this player's good. And then I crossed the ball in, and then Jamie Reese scored an overhead kick, top bins, and then obviously the attention went straight to Jamie then because he scored an absolute worldie.
I don't think it was Caerphilly. I think it might have been who scored the goal against us? Was it Rashid or?
It was a scrappy goal. I remember that. And we
been...
lost 1-0.
Craig Rush used to play for the Brad, didn't he?
Yeah. I can't remember. Someone will come on. It was one of the boys. Oh, it might have been actually Caerphilly. It might be Neil Roberts because I think he mentioned it the other day scoring against us.
It might have been. It might have been Snaky, yeah.
He did come on and play for us in the end. We got him in the end. Can you we had some good times, boys, the successes. What about any disappointing times? Disappointing cup finals?
The one that sticks in my mind to this day is Kevin Forrest. Eats away at me at the Trig. We were by far a better team than them. And for us to go on the booze the night before the cup final and all play useless the next day and lose to them was awful. It was just, look back now and think, why the hell did we do that?
Yeah.
12 years old as well, we should have stayed in.
Horrendous.
Well, then they beat us. We lost. It was Pendarren. It was like in the youth, wasn't it? And we lost at Pendarren in midweek to lose the league as well to them. That
was an awful week. Craig. Awful week.
Let's move on, Trig.
Yeah, swiftly.
It still breaks my heart. I can't think about it. Right. Tell me about some of the players from them times, boys. Who's your favourite players and some of your teammates growing up?
Well, I always enjoyed playing with you, Trig, obviously.
Thank you.
If me and Jamie up front always had a bit of a connection, which was, it's always good to play with Jamie, a really good player. He joined us a bit later, but Glenn, if me and Glenn sort of had an understanding, he'd know when I was going to run, and he'd just slide that ball through and sort of set up many of my goals, really. But yeah, I played with a good few players, and but that's the ones I've enjoyed playing with. But against some of the hard sort of players, you would think really good players. Like the hardest sort of defender I reckon I came against was probably Putney. Very, very good player, Chris.
Really good.
And a good lad as well.
You want to have it? Putney
Get him signed up, Trig.
Tone?
That's quite a few. Like I say, we were all decent players when we were in that team. A few that stood out for me. Carl in goals. Out of all my time, he was probably the best keeper Cascade have had, or that I know of anyway. He was brilliant. Another one for me, I played alongside me, Johnny Starden. I think he was one of the best left backs, solid, consistent. But I would say, you mentioned him, Kev. Jamie probably for me was the best player that I've played with. I just never. He's similar to Glenn Scheid. I've never seen someone so comfortable with the ball at his feet, and he could play anywhere you wanted him to play. But yeah, he was probably the best that I played alongside. In terms of opponents, to be honest, I can't. There was none that really stood out to me that really made my life that difficult. But I used to look like. Don't make me laugh, Kev. Come on. But no, like I say, they were boys I used to play against. Like I remember we used to play when the older Bargard boys, Stevie Orrell's boy, Adrian Orrell. He was a tough one. Stevie Smith probably was the one who made hard work for me more than anybody else. Like I say, he was a decent footballer, but at that age, especially when we were like under 12s, he was so much bigger, so much stronger than us. You really had to be on your game to sort of keep him quiet, which was difficult.
It was fine.
But,
Get him with us.
What about Doyley, Tone? Ian Doyle.
Yeah, Doyley again, but he seemed, yeah, he was very quick. He played out on the wing a bit, didn't he? He was really quick. But he was always a year above us. We didn't, like, I can't remember playing against him a lot. And he always used to play left wing, but I was on the sort of left of defence, so I never came up against him that much. But yeah, he had something about him, definitely.
You mentioned, Kevin mentioned being up against each other in training, and lads, remember Aberbargard going on the purple minibus, Sharpie drive?
Happy.
20 kids would be flying about the minibus. That wouldn't happen these days, would it?
No, on those slatted timber seats, no seatbelts.
Splinters on your backside. There was no way that bus was legal. There was no way it was legal.
Friday evening training sessions up Aberbargard. I'll always remember that because I remember one training session we were late and Mike went nuts because we were all hiding because I'd egged Rob Talbot's house and we were all hiding in the bushes and under Mike Cotter's caravan.
Yeah. I would love to know where they got that bus from.
Have to ask Mike, definitely. Get him on a podcast, Trig, and ask him where he got that van from.
Well, I think I will. He was such a big part of all our teams when he'll definitely have to come on. Yeah. What was the training sessions like back in them days compared to these days? What was the key to the success?
Well, I think I can feel down, but I and Tony will obviously respond. But I think he's of the same view of me. Is that Mike is a self-confessed rugby man, right? What he knows about football, he can probably write on the bag of a fag packet. But he used to give us the ball and say, "Go on, boys, play for an hour." It was no real technical training sessions, but he was there. The job that Mike did was just to facilitate us playing in a way to enable us to play. He didn't give us any sort of tactical sessions because he's very lucky. He had a very good player in every position, but the fact that he was there and allowed us to play, I've got so much respect for that, Mike, because if he didn't do it, we may not have had the success we had, all the fun, all the good memories.
I think that's it, and it's the fun side of it. Like I say, we were only kids, and people forget that sometimes, don't they? But it's still about fun. And Mike, I could probably guarantee you, if we didn't have Mike there, we wouldn't have kept that side. The boys would have gone elsewhere, definitely. But yeah, I back Kev. Like I say, he didn't have the biggest football brain, but like I say, he was there for us. Whatever we wanted, we got. So yeah, we've had different managers. Like I say, go back to Roger Trigg. He was more of a tactical. He played football. We learned a lot of the tactical stuff from him when we were younger. But say Mike just let us do it then, didn't he? But
we had
Jeff, it's quite a range.
Wild in me.
Yeah, Jeff
used to help
a big part. Jeff Reese tried to bring some more technical aspects into the game. I remember definitely. One training session, I know Trigger does, where Jeff was bigging me up saying, "Kevin Gould, watch this now, boys. He's the best crosser in the league. Today, we're just doing drills on crossing, and I couldn't hit nothing, Trig, could I? Useless."
I'm sure you rectified it in the game, Kev.
Yeah, he didn't. Jeff was quite quiet, I thought. He didn't say a lot, but when he did speak, what he said, it was worth listening to. Like,
yeah, it was. Yeah,
knowledgeable.
Yeah, I completely agree with that.
Yeah, I remember him telling us like old drills on free kicks and stuff I try and teach the teams I've coached today, trying to copy what he taught us. So we talked about some goals. Tony, you said you didn't score many, but I think you're wrong, eh? I think you used to peg a few in with your lefty. Tell me about some of your favourite goals, boys. Kev, this is probably your section more than Tony's, but
I could talk for hours, so I'll let Tony get his two goals out first, and then I'll.
Mine would be really quick, Kev. I scored that little amount of goals. I can't remember any of them. I reckon I must have scored about 20 in my entire career. Like, it was only ever one or two a season. The one I honestly can't remember a lot of them. I remember a couple with a head and that, but I think I remember one, and I think we were playing Dairy or something like that on the top field, Trig, and I scored from the halfway line with my right foot, and I remember that because I'm sure Carl was in goals for them at the time. It was before he came over to us.
Well, he come over
But
to us
that's the
after
one.
that
Like I say,
game. I'm sure you scored more tournaments.
yeah. After I'd done that to him, yeah.
If someone talked to me about your goals,
Yeah, I had a few, maybe, but not many.
you need to be a better liar and make some up, man.
Couple of seasons, mate, probably.
Come on, Kev.
Yeah, I bagged in 20 a season. I was just behind Kev.
Yeah, nobody knows. You can say what you want.
I know.
Like that.
Kev, you don't have to lie. Go on, I'll give you that. Come on in.
I think I don't know, there's a few that stand out. As a kid, there's probably the one where we won 4-1 away at the Basin, and I scored a hat-trick with a free kick in right in the top corner, which was always nice to win there, as we said. But then senior football, then we always had a rivalry with Whitchurch, horrible team. And if you remember, in the dressing room, we had a man sent off in a league game against them, a cup game, early doors, and they beat us 5-0. And it was the last game of the season, Whitchurch, and they needed to win to gain promotion. And we could hear their team talk. And it was, boys, we've already drubbed these 5-0. I don't need to, tell you, it's going to be easy work, and we'll celebrate after. So then I think the manager at the time was Dion. He said, boys, I am going to give you a team talk after listening to that. Right. So he should have, really, because after 2 minutes, we were 1-0 down. And I just carried on and on and on. And it was like 10 minutes left. And then I think Frankie hit the bar from a free kick, and I had a tap in it, sort of header. And then literally 2 minutes left, I cut inside and literally hit the stanchion. And I ran and slid on my knees in front of their manager. And this is a family podcast. I can't say what I shouted at the manager, but it's something like, where's your promotion gone, Tubby? And I was trying to get at me on the pitch. But that was horrible team, Whitchurch, and it's always good to put one over on them, especially stop them promoting. So that's probably up there.
I remember that goal very well, and the celebrations after running up the touchline. It was happy days.
What about you, Trig? You scored
Yeah.
a few goals, mate. What was your best goal?
It's not about me, it's about you.
Come on.
Well,
He's saving that for his podcast, Tom. It's a one-man show, that is.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not sure what's true and what's lies, what I say with to be honest.
He's trying to believe in the lies.
I couldn't tell you. I'll go to one end, which was the semi-final in the last minute against Bockroot. That was a good end to take us to the cup final, which we lost 3 in a row, cup finals at senior football, and the under-18s one. So that was 4 in a row. That was dreadful. What was the other one? Oh, Kogan. I was sub somehow. I don't know how I was sub, but I must have been injured, and I come on and scored for us in the time. But let's go back to you boys. Where was we, boys? Right then. So tell me, what's your greatest achievement playing, boys? Tony, you had a couple of trials. Your name went up to Norwich and Swansea and stuff. Can you tell me a bit about that?
Yeah. I was quite lucky. Like I say, I went around, I'd done the Swansea, Cardiff, Norwich thing. It was a lot different back then. I was thinking about this the other day. Back when we were playing, there always used to be scouts watching from Cardiff, Swansea, and all these places, Bristol. So people were getting picked up a lot more, I think, than they are now. I think I've seen one. I've been coaching since my boys were under 12s, and I think I've seen one Swansea scout on the field. You don't get to see it now, but I think obviously the academies have come in and that, so they go there instead. But yeah, it was a good experience, to be honest with you. I think I've told you boys before, it's probably one of my biggest regrets, to be honest, was I always preferred playing for Cascade. I remember rushing home from a game I was playing in Norwich just because I knew we had an evening kick-off for Cascade. So it was a good experience, different, obviously, ways of coaching, learned a lot, definitely, especially when you're up against someone like Bellamy, because I was at Norwich when he was there. But I always preferred playing for Cascade, mate. It got to a point where I just wanted to play football with my mates, and I look back now and think how stupid I was thinking and doing that. But yeah, like I say, it was a good experience, mate. But I had a lot more fun, lot better experiences, I think, with you lot playing for Cascade throughout the years.
What was your What's your favourite times playing, boys? Your greatest achievements, Kev? Tell.
It's got to be the constant league wins, the cup wins, Trig, the top goal scorer trophy every single year.
You ever get player of the year, Kev?
No, Rob, Tone, Rob.
He already had one trophy anyway, didn't he? And they couldn't give him two with a top goal scorer between us to him because he probably
Cemented that.
2 years. What about obviously moving on now? You're both coaching teams. Tell me about how you got involved with that. And you both coach for quite a few years now. So, Kev, how do what led you to coaching?
Well, I took Jack sort of took the football overnight. One day he weren't interested, and the next he was, and he wanted to join a club. So I took him to Cascade, where the coach was Michael Betterson, but he had to drop out, I think, due to work commitments. So I took over the team with John Paul, and that was 2015. So as they were under sixes, so I've had the team since then, and seen the boys develop now into the young men and the great footballers they are. Really, it's very rewarding and frustrating at times, as you know, but mainly rewarding. So yeah.
Hopefully they'll be back on the pitch sooner rather than later.
Yeah, definitely, for their fitness and their mental health. I think we need them all on that pitch, training and playing the sport they love.
That's quite right. Tony, you boys are a bit older. They're youth now. So when did you get involved with them?
Well, Mason started playing when he was 4 or 5, and obviously Benji and Ian Shutt were coaches all throughout mini football. I think I took over. I think Ian Shutt finished, and I took over then the first season under 12s. So I've been coaching 12s up to obviously youth now. But the only reason being was obviously Mason, because he wanted to play football, and I'm a bit like Kev probably. It's very hard standing on the side as a parent. You're chomping at the bit to get involved in it anew. So I was chuffed to bits when obviously Benji asked me if I wanted to give him a hand. So yeah, same thing really.
How do you feel on match days as a manager compared to you did as a player? Any pre-match rituals from playing and now managing?
Well,
no, I never had any rituals, but I'm a hell of a lot more nervous coach than I never got nervous playing football, but I always get nervous when I'm coaching. Always.
I totally agree with it, Tom. Totally agree. I know, it is strange.
It's strange, isn't it?
I think when you're playing, you feel you can control it. You're on that pitch and you can have a say in what's happening. Whereas as a coach, you're off the field and you can't directly contribute to the result of the game. You can just give advice and sort of coaching. I think that's why I get a lot more nervous. But no, it's definitely more nervous coaching. And as for rituals, I didn't have any rituals really, or pre-match meals. I know you had your chicken and beans, Trig, but I didn't. I think senior football, if I'd been on the beer on a Friday night, the pre-match meal was a full brekkie down John's calf, Trig. But other than that, no.
And going in brekkie and buckies, and then
I was going to say, you see chip shop.
What do you feel is your biggest attributes as managers, boys?
That's a good question. I think, to be honest, it might be like you and JP, Kev, but I think me and Benji, I think we just work well together. We both got different sort of, like Benji takes care. It might surprise you, but Benji does take care of a lot of the fitness training and even some of the tactical stuff in training. His ways of training obviously different to mine. I think we complement each other. I like in the training session, I let him have a game or whatever, but I pull him over one at a time during the game just to talk to him for 5-10 minutes or whatever, what they're doing right, what they're doing wrong. So I think, like I say, working together with Benji, we do complement each other. And it's with Benji, everybody knows he's a bit like my Cotter, Benji is, to be honest with you. He gets the boys going, tell you that, in the changing rooms before.
Yeah.
He's a good guy.
I think because there's 3 coaches under 12, it's myself, JP, and Ryan. And we've got 2 helpers in Paul and Lee as well, who are, you know, there are 5 of us there. It makes it much easier if we can give the kids, and we can split the sessions up into different sessions, which are obviously Ryan's done his B sort of license. JP is doing his B. The sessions are mainly done by John Paul, who plans a fantastic technical training session, in fairness to him. I said, yeah, and then I work on the fitness side and get involved then with JP on the technical sessions and in the actual running of them. But yeah, it does work well. We do, John Paul's the calm, sensible one. I'm the fiery one, I think, shall we say.
I think that's such a bonus of having that many coaches, especially in mini football, where you've got that many there. You can actually split them up and do different things with them. They probably develop so much quicker. I wouldn't want to be having one coach with 20 little kids running around your feet. It must be hard work. So having that many,
yeah.
and especially that experience as well of John Paul and Ryan, must be
and it's good for us because Ryan has done his goalkeeping stuff as well. So I can take a group, John Paul can take a group, and then Ryan works with the goalkeepers. So the goalkeepers, again, like a good 30-40 minutes of just intense goalkeeper training.
Yeah.
And
it does work.
The other boys have gone on to do their B licenses, you said, Kev, was it? Or any
Yeah.
ambitions to go do any more licenses, or are you happy where you are?
No, I think I will. I don't want to do it over a Zoom call in a lockdown. I'd rather do it in a classroom. So when it all gets back to normal and we can go out and meet people and talk and be back in the classroom and on the field doing these courses, yeah, I will take it further, yeah.
Well, Tone, you've gone on further now and become the chairman of the club as well. You've done it all. Tell us what that was like. How do you get involved with that?
How would I get involved in that? Obviously, just when I started under 12s, when I was coaching with Benji, you just go to a couple of committee meetings or coach meetings and that. And obviously, as you can imagine, I had quite a bit to say in some of their meetings. And I think then the chairman at the time had finished. And the ladies involved in charge then just asked me to come along and would I like to be chairman. And then so it's great, like for me, I was loving it. But long after then, the secretary quit, so I ended up taking on both roles, secretary and chairman. But it's a lot of work. I'm trying to get Kev involved a bit more, but he's not having none of it.
No.
What's your
I know how much work a secretary takes, so
what's been your biggest achievement and biggest challenges in that role so far?
Biggest achievement, I think, must be when I took over. Cascade wasn't heading in the right direction. It was very much potentially going to be turning into a senior club only, bit like Nelson. There was only probably about 5 teams there. So when I come in, and this isn't just me, obviously, there was other committee members there, but I made it a top priority to start getting the kids back in the football club. They always have been there. So I think the biggest achievement for me is going from 5 teams up to, I think we've got about 17 teams at the moment, all age groups. We got girls teams. And obviously as well, then you've got the ladies playing in the Welsh Prem this year. So that was massive. There's a lot of work that went into that behind the scenes. But yeah, so, but for me, it was definitely just getting the kids back at the club playing football. It's just amazing to see the under 6s up, little ones running around over the field. I think it's what we all wanted. And obviously the other part of it is Hayden getting involved in the fit yard. especially with his senior groups, he brought a lot of the, like, how can I say, there was a lot of the people there that's in his club probably didn't even know that Cascade had a fully licensed bar and clubhouse over by there. They didn't know about it. So it's great to get people like that back involved in the club as well, and a bit more community there. Like, but yeah, it's great seeing 300 kids signed in our club at the moment. We've got to be one of the biggest, I think, in Rumney Valley at the moment. So yeah, it's good to see, mate.
Club of the Year 2019 with me.
Yes, we did. Yeah, so Philly Sports Club of the Year. That was amazing. That was a brilliant night. And like I say, it wasn't just me. There's a hell of a lot of work gone in behind the scenes by a few people. Obviously, we all know Louise Drake obviously helped me out, especially when it comes to the money side of things. She was a big help that season, the 2019-20 season. I couldn't have done it without her, to be honest. And then you've got the likes of Dale. He's always around, and his knowledge of the council and stuff like that is fantastic to just have him chip in where he can. But it's got that feeling at the club now where there's so many people involved in it and so many people help out. It's making my life a hell of a lot easier just having new boys involved. But yeah, it's on the way up. But
any further ambitions? Probably just answered that question, saying just on the way up.
no, I think if I had one other big, I'd love to get a new pitch sorted for us. I'd love to get Duffin Park, the drainage sorted, get some fencing around there, because to play at T1 level, especially for the ladies, the criteria you've got to meet is quite a standard. So for us to move on, that's men's football as well. We've got a cracking men's team. We've got potential to go further, but to go further, we need the facilities to do that. So I think that'll be a next push for me, is to try and sort the grounds out, but it's not going to be easy.
Well, I think we're almost coming to the end of this, boys. We're just going to wrap it up, but we've come in full circle, and the pair of you have pulled your boots back on to come into the Vex team. What's made you sign up? What's after a few years dormant from playing, what's inspired you to come back?
I wouldn't say I was inspired, Trig. It was just you nagging me all the time.
I'm not sure. I asked about best players, and you didn't mention me, so you might be subbed to start with. Well, that's all right.
Back to best players, though, Trig. One I forgot to mention, and didn't play very long with him, but one of the most skillful I've played with is probably Tom Gorham.
Ah, yes.
I never played with Tom. I've seen him once or twice, but I never played with him.
A couple of years younger than us, but we was lucky enough to play in the senior team with him. Very good player.
Yeah, but with the bets, Trig, it's just, I don't know, we've talked about it for a while, and it's never really sort of gone to the next stage. Now it has, and we got a lot of people involved. I think what sort of got me involved initially was, okay, we can have a good few beers out of this and a laugh. But now, having the full training sessions down the Centre of Excellence and playing again and putting the boots on, it's certainly got a bit of the hunger back to play and enjoy playing football again, because it's been over 10 years since I've played now, so probably 11 aside. So yeah, definitely once it's back to normal after COVID, we can play every other week and have a good few beers and a laugh afterwards as well. And who knows, maybe dummy club and a football tour.
Sounds good.
There we go. So any final thoughts, boys? In a couple of words, sum up how you feel about the club and your time with the club.
Couple of words.
Or one.
I think from my playing days, I count myself very lucky and blessed that I played with a good bunch of boys and we stuck together and won quite a few things. There's not many people kids can say that throughout their playing days. I think obviously now being coach and the chairman, pride, I think, would be, it's an honour for me to look after this club. The club that I played for, like I say, most of my life. But yeah, I don't think I could sum it up in a couple of words, mate. But yeah, it's been emotional.
He's taken my word, he has there.
Well,
No, it's just been fantastic. It's just been fantastic. As a kid, playing football for Cascade, especially for me, coming into a new team when I was 10, as I said, joined then and progressed through. Owe a lot to Mike Cotter for, getting all us boys together. And another coach we didn't mention, which I think deserves a mention, has got to be Rob Lewis. Absolute legend.
Yeah.
he'd have us running up a bank in.
Yeah, fantastic. And it was, and even playing in the senior years and now coaching, seeing the kids develop as they get older and get into better players and more mature kids is just fantastic to see. And it sums up when Cascade's biggest supporter, Trig, a good friend of yours, was Robin Gould. I think you know. Go to every single game, and as you said, when I stopped playing football, Kev, we have to get a season ticket down Cardiff City because I ain't staying in the house with your mother on a Saturday afternoon.
I spent many a Saturday afternoon on the sideline while I was somehow sub with Robin.
Injured again, Trig, you.
Injured. He'd be saying, Trig, you don't deserve to be sub today. I said, no, Rob, I don't want to be manager.
You tried to convince him.
Well, boys, that was a great chat. I hope you enjoyed it. That was our first podcast. I hope the listeners enjoyed it and the viewers.
Thanks for having us on, mate.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, being our new
Awesome Trig. I don't know how you're going to top me and Tony for guests, but good luck podcasting too, is what I'm saying.
As I have to tell people something, don't I? Because everyone I try and recruit for the vets, I tell them we'll win the league if they come. So I just said you two guests. I need to think of my spiel. Thank you very much. Good night.
Cheers,
Thanks, Trig.